Hello, my name is V Sin, and this is a snapshot of Malicious Rebirth. Malicious Rebirth kinda snuck its way in onto the North American PSN on October the 8th, 2013. There really wasn't that much fanfare. People vaguely knew about it, but that was about it. Just kinda, it showed up, and it's like, hey, everyone, there's a game out. This actually originally came out in Japan, at least the Rebirth version came out in Japan, all the way back in November of 2012. And then there's the original Malicious that came out on the PS3, I can't remember exactly when. So anyways, here's the English port of Malicious Rebirth, which is already a port of PS3. So what the heck is this game? In short, it's a action RPG boss rush game. It's basically, you rush down bosses. I guess it's vaguely similar to something like Mega Man in the sense that you get a variety of stages available right off the bat. You pick a stage, you beat the boss, you move on to the next stage. Stuff changes depending on which bosses you picked, yada yada yada. Go through all that. Once you clear the initial batch, you get a final boss. End of game. It actually goes by pretty quickly. As you can see here, the time says 7 hours 22 minutes. For my initial story mode clear, I actually spent 2.5 hours trying to figure out the game. Restarted it. Cleared the game in about 1 hour, 15-30 minutes, so 1.5 hours-ish. Then go into the second mode, and then cleared that in about like 2 hours-ish because I was figuring stuff out. So first of all, let's take a look at settings. Yeah, this menu is, I don't know what, it barely exists. It's just music and sound effects. Whatever. Controls. Okay, first of all, you have player controls, camera controls. My player controls are not default, by the way. The defaults are attack is normally this. These are normally the default controls. I swapped attack and focus reset camera. That's it. It's just personal preference. That's about it. Of note though is this aura button down here. Aura is very poorly explained in the game. What you can do is basically you have attack, power attack, dodge, jump. When you hold down the aura button, and then try to use one of the other buttons, a special effect occurs. If you use it during attack or power attack, it gains extra damage and drains aura. If you hold down guard dodge, you repair your health for a certain amount of aura. You hold down the jump, you get a supercharge mode. There are 3 stages, plus another unlockable stage that's basically you are invincible, but then as soon as the aura ends, you die. So yeah, it's interesting. Touch button display. This thing is, there are 2 extra controls on the right side of the screen. I'll show you down in a bit. Whether you leave them all the time or not. I leave them on all the time because I like them there. Camera controls, nothing too special. It's just up, down, left, right, or inverted. Up, down, or inverted. Camera speed is turn speed. This default speed seems to be okay. If you need it faster, you can do it faster. If you need it slower, you can do it slower. Now, there's also this backstory mode. Backstory is 2 different stories. Initially, you only start with this story of the Mad Queen. It will actually automatically jump straight into the story normally. After you beat the Mad Queen story mode, then you unlock this one. This is the story between the prophets and the 4 kings, and all the stuff in between that. Oh, whoopsie. So here we go. It loads this, get all this wall of text and all that good stuff. You can also see, you can shuffle chapters with L and R, you can change pages with the D-pad. There's also place bookmark. You see it just saves the bookmark right here. And then when you jump to bookmark, okay, let's just jump, say here, okay. So then go out back, jump to bookmark, and you get back to the page. That's about it. The backstory is there. I don't think it's particularly special or anything. It's nice to have it, of course. But the backstory is there, but the story mode itself doesn't really tell you that much story at all. It's just, hey, you beat up bosses. Hey, here's another boss. Go beat it up again. That's about it. Free mode is, I'm gonna show you gameplay in free mode, but free mode is something you unlock after you beat the first 5 bosses in the first story mode. It's a little bit convoluted that way. You unlock it from the first 5 bosses in the after the first 5 bosses of the regular story mode. It becomes unlocked, and then I believe it then re-unlocks for the second story mode after you beat those first 4 or 5, I'm not 100% sure. But you had to unlock the second story mode separately for free mode. Story mode is you go through 5 bosses and then final boss. The second story mode is you go through 4 bosses and then 2 bosses one after the other. Even though the story is rigged so that the 5th boss and the 6th boss come one after the other with no pause, in reality, if you fail one of the bosses or if you want to just get out of it, then you can actually just jump out of it, figure yourself out, and go back into the last boss fight without having to go to the 5th boss fight. So don't worry about that. It's slightly weird when you look at it for the first time. With story mode, generally speaking, the first boss that you fight is stupidly easy, at least in comparison. The second and third bosses are okay difficulty. 4th and 5th bosses get higher difficulty. 6th boss is the hardest one. Fairly standard stuff. You can see that my clears are B and B. I'm not that particularly great at it. So let's go into free mode. In free mode you can freely change characters, but if you go into story mode it defaults back to the character gender you picked. So let's start with Emil. Sweet. So here we go. And it just starts off like this, by the way. You have to start, you can move the camera around, you can start moving around. So this is the second half, because I set the screen to it. Now let's take a look at costumes for a second. So you can talk to this guy. I didn't figure this out until, like, after I beat the game, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. This is tutorial, game world tutorial, tutorial. And then change spirit vessel settings. You go into this. Wait for him to finish talking. There we go. Now you get 3 different costumes available here. Prophet robe, Black Slayer robe, Royal robe. I believe there's another DLC robe or something. I don't know about it. Don't know too much about it. This is the basic one. The one displayed on the screen is the basic one. It does nothing. Nothing special. And you can equip, this one's Prophet robe. This is a Black Slayer robe. Royal robe. Prophet gives aura, Black Slayer gives attack in exchange for defense, Royal robe is defense in exchange for attack. I like Prophet robe because I like Prophet robe. Well, let's just get out of here. So, I don't know, let's just get into a fight right away. I'm gonna go over here. I've been trying to practice one boss just so I can do this snapshot, but I don't know, you might see me fail miserably. In terms of boss fights, I would say that the mechanics are fairly interesting. Yet at the same time, I would also say that the difficulty is sort of crappy. So yeah, this is my records with the Forbidden Library. I can't seem to get my clear time that low, but whatever. There we go. Load times are somewhat long. I mean, they do the spin around over and over and over again as it loads a level. It takes a while. I guess it's not too bad, but it's kind of annoying if you're restarting a boss over and over again. So, wait for this, zoom in, and then here we go, the Forbidden Library, and the boss. You can also see in the bottom right, you can skip this cutscene if you want. I'm going to show it to you guys, because they look pretty cool. Hey, gigantic boss. Oddly enough, this is like the only fleshy boss in the first half. Okay, let's start by grabbing some aura first. Onto everything. Alright. Let's beat the crap out of this guy. And bam. And you might notice something is that I'm actually having no issues commentating while fighting. I mean, the bosses aren't easy by any stretch of the imagination. And it does take a lot of effort to beat them. You will fail sometimes, you will lose HP and stuff like that, but the mechanics themselves aren't actually that complicated. Like, if you've seen some of my other videos, I believe Dragon's Crown, I stutter a lot. Blaze Blue, I stutter a lot. But this, like, I purposely demoed it before trying to record this for the first time, and I have no problems trying to discuss it while the fight's going on. So they're gone to a certain level, HP level, and then new phase. Let's get some more aura. Hate this part. Yeah, annoying part. So yeah, occasionally does a grab like that, and just beat the crap out of them. Now, something you may have seen in promotional materials if you knew anything about this, apart from watching the Snapshot, is that quite a few of the promotional materials show weapon swapping. I found weapon swapping to be pretty unreliable in this game. Oops, crap. I don't know. In general, I just found the controls to be really unresponsive. I don't know why they feel so unresponsive, but it's just really annoying for some reason. I don't know why. It's also not obvious on this in this particular boss, but you can actually get a lot of frame drops. This boss is not too bad because the mooks just run around in circles and don't bother you at all. But in bosses where they do actually bother you, like the mooks actually deal damage and they bug the crap out of you. Yeah, those are the ones where you can get frame drops, a lot of slowdown. It's really irritating. I don't know. Like the whole point of me demoing this boss is just because A, he's probably one of the easier ones even with all the features unlocked, and 2, because, well, fewer frame drops. And I don't know, maybe I'll run into it, but he actually does have quite a few camera issues, and I think all the bosses have camera issues. And this game in general, I think, just has some pretty annoying camera issues. Ah, crap. Here comes the attack again. Oh, crap, I missed the counter. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, well. So, I don't know, just beat the crap out of this boss again. Crap. And now he's gonna jump off the wall or something. Grab more aura. There we go, I can counter it now. So there we go, get a cutscene, you counter him. During the story mode, you actually need a specific weapon. But during this, since you have all the upgrades and weapons unlocked, you don't actually need it. So there you just saw me do a release. It has 3 stages, and then you can burn aura during the release, and it does an insane amount of damage. This is also how you get the clear times faster. So there, beat the crap out of this guy. Yay! Ah, crap. Oops. Now, something you may have noticed throughout this fight, and I'm not sure if you did, but it's something that bugs the crap out of me, is that difficulty in this game is, generally speaking, built around just bosses having way too much health. I mean, I have these boss mechanics figured out, for the most part, and there you'll finally beat them. But you just saw that I spent a lot of time just beating on the boss. Now, this guy is actually the nice one. He takes the least amount of time. You go to some of the other bosses, like Bearer of the Shield. Oh man, that guy's just one fat health bar. Oh sweet, I managed to get 4 minutes. But some of these bosses I'm not even kidding, they will take like a billion hits, slowly whittling it down. And for my first few clears, I didn't even know what aura was, and I got brutalized by some of those bosses. They took me like 16 minutes. I didn't know what aura was. I couldn't boost my attack. I didn't know what aura boost was. That got really ridiculous. Either way, I did not expect to get Quadra S. So yay, I got S rank on this boss for some strange reason. Sweet. Anyways, another long loading screen. In terms of graphics, I would say that it's sort of trying to be cell shaded, yet I don't know. The cell shading looks really weird for some reason to me. I mean, from a technical standpoint, it looks really pretty. It just, to me, it looks really weird as well. I'm not sure why. Let's see here. This guy over here, Battlefield of Yore, Bearer of the Shield. This guy is just a bullet sponge. This guy over here, World Battle Escort. At one point, he starts flying around, why can't I get closer to you? I just want to hit you. It's annoying because you need to chase him around the stage. If you're doing it in the story mode, they need to chase him around the stage without the story, without the wings upgrade. Stand up, damn it. And when you idle for too long, he just goes back in the chair. Triumphal Square isn't too bad, but the boss in Triumphal Square tends to clip through terrain a lot for some annoying reason. And then Forbidden Floor, Bearer of the Sword, also Mad Queen. Her hitbox is tiny. Just a pain in the ass. She blinks around all over the place. The camera goes freaky. Then there is Edge of the Abyss, final boss of the first story mode. I don't know, it's just really annoying to get... You have to jump to platforms and hit them. It's really awkward to hit them because you can't lock onto them. We just had to flail around madly, wasting aura. Finally hit it. Then jump around on the boss, hit the points. But once you finally expose the weak point, that is, again, a punching bag. You just beat the crap out of him. There is one dangerous attack he throws out during that time. That's it. And just beat the crap out of the boss. Again, it's one of those things, it feels like it's wasting your time, but whatever. I'm going to show you around to the other bosses for a second here, since we're here. And this is only apparently taking me 17 minutes. So, let's start all the way over here. Abhorrent Altar. I don't know, maybe it's because I set it to easy when I did the second story mode, but this guy falls over like a chump for some reason. Imperial Garrison. These two bosses are just annoying because they split up and they have from different angles, so it's hard to keep track of both of them. I'd say this is a fairly interesting boss. Unlike, say, Mad Queen, even though they're human sized, their hitboxes aren't ridiculously tiny, so it's not a pain in the ass to hit them. Go over here. The Void is actually the fifth boss. This boss has two phases. The first phase is complete pushover. The second phase, I mostly accuse him of just being way too hard to catch up to sometimes, but otherwise, I would say that this boss is actually reasonably fun. Although even on easy difficulty, this guy kind of outstays his welcome with the amount of health he has. The Great Rift. The Great Rift feels like a punching bag one, and he runs around a lot. In terms of the attacks, though, attacks are fairly easy to avoid. What's annoying, though, is that if you're on the ground and you have the boss locked on, your attacks will generally miss unless you're trying to use the sword, this weapon here, with this gigantic wide attack. Because if you're using fists, you can see it only attacks forward, mostly. Lance, it only attacks forward. Oops. And then magic bullets, this just does no damage. It's mostly just for chasing. Seriously. Sword, it's mostly for AoE. The swing is really slow, but it does have a wide attack arc. Either way, the legs on this thing, there's a gigantic void in the hitbox underneath the boss. You have to be in the air in order to hit the boss. That's about it. Otherwise, again, bullet spongy even on easy. Triumphal Square, this guy is really bullet spongy and really mobile. In terms of attacks, it's only annoying the first time. After a couple of times, like, oh, I get the attack patterns. I would say he's a fairly fair boss, with decent phases. White Room Soul Prison. Okay, you know what? Since we have time on this video, I'm going to show you this. The White Room Soul Prison. This is the final boss of the second story mode. It's actually a surprise boss and technically a spoiler, although you won't get the spoiler if I just show it to you. Maybe I'll skip the cutscenes, maybe not. So, time attack mode, score attack mode, free mode. I'm just gonna do free mode. You have time attack mode and score attack mode. These two things are actually quote-unquote online play, but in reality, They're just leaderboards. They're just online leaderboards, so don't worry about that. Now I'm just going to do it in free mode. I'm just going to show you how annoying I found this boss. Will there be frame drops? I don't think so. Either way, this boss is a pain in the ass, in my opinion. Just because of one attack, where they start spamming a whole bunch of projectiles, and if you try to launch offense during this, you will be in for a pain in the ass time. I don't know. Let's see what happens. It's also free mode, so I will probably die trying to do this. If I die, I'm just going to quit out. Yay, crazy looking thing. By the way, if you look closely at the little detail things, you can see that they're all actually mathematical formulae. Oh, by the way, this isn't actually the boss. This is just the first phase of the boss. So here, let's just beat the crap out of your doppelganger first. Unlike other modes, though, there are no mooks for you to beat the crap out of. As you can see, he takes way too much damage for just a boss. Yeah, crap. Oops. Wrong attack, whatever. I like to use a wide attack on this boss just because... Yay, block it. Block everything. Ah, crap. 8, 9, there we go. There. One of the fist upgrades is actually that can punch through projectiles after a certain point. And this phase, by the way, the guy also repairs, which is a pain in the ass. Or you may have noticed something with the fist. You notice that I'm missing a lot of my attacks. And the reason I'm missing a lot of my attacks is because most of these attacks are based on bosses with gigantic hitboxes. Like that first boss I showed you. Bear of the Lands, Forbidden Library. Most of these attacks are based around bosses with really large hitboxes. Not guys this damn small. Seriously. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get my ass wiped because this is set to... Because free mode is set to normal difficulty, and I first took on this boss in easy difficulty, so yay. I'll just do the cheese method I figured out. Punch him repeatedly with triangle attack. Like, I had to use all my continues on this boss, even on easy. God, I hate the depth perception in this. Yeah, I'm just gonna lose to this phase before I even get into it. Whatever. The next phase, though, is a serious pain in the ass, though. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. That's just me failing. Needless to say, though, the game gets a lot more difficult as it goes on. And there are also different quotes based on how far you get. So, recommendation time. Would I recommend this game? Well, the thing is, if it was just the first 6 bosses, because that's apparently what the original Malicious was, just the first 6 bosses, at the price of $15 at the moment, that would not have been worth recommending, because the 6 bosses, the replay value is mostly just score attack, but that's about it. However, these next 6 bosses, I'm not 100% sure if they were DLC for the original Malicious or not, but these additional 6 bosses add a lot more gameplay value. Because before, it would be about a 2.5 hour game from just normally trying to figure it out. Add these bosses, though, even in easy mode when they just lose HP. Even in easy mode, this game is still pretty hard. It will still take you a fairly long time. And it bumps the average play time to around 5 minutes before everything else. After that, you still have the score attack. You just have your OCD of trying to get S ranks on everything, etc. And overall, I would say that, yeah, for $15, it's a fairly low price, and for $15, I would say that this game is worth it. The boss fights are fairly interesting. I will say that even with all that stuff, even with me clearing the first boss in just over 4 minutes, I would still say that a lot of these bosses are very, very, very much like punching bags, where you had long since figured out their attack patterns and you're just trying to wait for the phase to start. And really, most of the difficulty comes from attrition. Like, they just have massive health bars, and if you screw up once, and you'll take a massive attack to the face, lose health, then be forced to run around collecting aura, then repair yourself. I mean, granted, very fast, actually really interesting, because then you can just like quickly clear through them, and it look crazy on YouTube. But for players, I would say it gets annoying. So, overall, would I recommend this game? I recommend this game to most people who own Vitas. If you like the gameplay you saw here, then I think this will be okay. If you didn't like it, then oh well. So yeah, TLDR, yeah, I recommend this game. Fairly cheap, good value. My name has been V Sin. Thanks for watching.